Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, we're going to go over all of the devblogs that happened over the last few days, since there was a bunch of them that turned up from the big stormers of this update. Everybody keeps asking, when do I think this update's going to come out? Tuesday or Wednesday makes the most sense for me, maybe even Thursday. But the only thing we're missing right now when it comes to this new update is stuff like loading screens and also camos. Everything else seems pretty good to go. So look forward to next week because the update will definitely drop. Anyway, there is another piece of news before we get into the devblogs. The Mi-24D is temporarily available at a discount for helicopter pilot stay. So if you have an interest in the Soviet Mi-24D, it is 30% off for Golden Eagles. Remember, if you want to buy GE off the Gaijin store, you can use my partner link and get yourself some discounts, support the channel, and also the decals. It's also a way for console players to be able to get access to the decal in the game and understand that the decal will be changing at some point, so might be worth picking up now. Also, you have the Christmas sales, which are going to be coming in soon, so make sure to check those out on the channel. Let's get into all the devblogs and the information that they hold. The first vehicle is the poster boy of the ground part of this update. It's the Panzerhaubitze 2000, which is a big old SBH, which is coming to the German tech tree, but also the Italian tech tree, which is kind of fun. This vehicle will be in the standard tech tree for Germany at rank 5, and the one that they talk about in the devblog for Italy is going to be the Hungarian variant, which is the one with the really cool camo on it. This will actually be a pack vehicle for the Italian tech tree, and it's going to release with the major update. So it looks like they're doing this with a bunch of different vehicles, basically because of the fact that the update's going to be coming out soon, or maybe they just don't have any pre-order bonuses ready for them. So if you want to get access to the Panzerhaubitze with the cool camo on it, you'll have to buy it in pack form when the update comes out. I'll make sure to have links and stuff like that when the update drops, so you can check them out and you can kind of go from there. The vehicles themselves have access to the 155mm L52 gun. They also have very good mobility for how heavy the platform is, and also access to some advanced stuff such as a laser rangefinder, which will make this thing very powerful at the BR of 7.7. The Panzerhaubitze 2000 dates back to the SP-70 program set up in the early 70s in collaboration with Germany, Great Britain and also Italy. This program aimed to replace the aging M109 howitzers in service with the three countries with a more modern vehicle featuring a longer and more powerful 155mm howitzer. The project, however, was cancelled in 1986 due to design issues, and the participating countries and companies went separate ways. Great Britain went on to design and produce the AS-90, and Germany the Panzerhaubitze 2000. In 1987, design work began on the Panzerhaubitze 2000 by Rheinmetall and Krauss-Maffei Wegmann and was completed in 1995, with the vehicle entering service with Germany in 1998. Hungary put an order for 24 brand new Panzerhaubitze 2000s in 2018 and received the first two in August 2022. By the summer of 2024, 23 have been delivered. These vehicles replace the aging Soviet D-20 152mm artillery systems that were in service with Hungary previously. The other kind of interesting thing about this article is it doesn't mention the other Italian tech tree Panzerhaubitze 2000 that has been sat in the files and just kind of not really doing much. So we'll have to see what goes on with that Italian one. It's fully modeled, it's ready to go, and it'll be cool to see it in the tech tree, especially at rank 577 for Italy. But who knows? One of the big things about this update is obviously having a bunch of similar vehicles or copy-paste vehicles across the place and ground, like the M44, so maybe they didn't want to push it too hard. They also finally announced the Pack Tigers, so this is going to be the Tiger Ost, Tiger West, and Ostwind Ost. This is going to be a bundle pack that they're selling, so you're going to get 2 Tiger H1s, which have access to different decorations, and also an Ostwind 2 with a camo net on the turret itself. The bundle itself will all be matched together, so you'll have to buy it as a whole one. This hopefully won't be too expensive, because obviously it is 3 premium vehicles in one place. My guess would be around $50 or $60 for something like this, especially since it's the first of its kind. They haven't talked about it being limited in either way, which is great, and also it doesn't seem to be connected to any time thing or Christmas thing, which is great, because one of the problems, I looked at these vehicles and thought, oh god, they're gonna like link it to a GE crate or something, but no, it's just going to be a flat out pack where you can buy them when the update comes out. So the update, Storm Warning, will release, the pack will be available, and all of these will be available. The vehicles themselves look really cool. You know, obviously they're just standard Tiger H1s, or 2 standard Tiger H1s. The general armor isn't really that different, apart from some tracks on one of them, and the other one having a great camouflage on it. The Ostwind 2 is also a nice little addition, because obviously people talk about struggling with CAS at that BR, which is fair, because CAS is incredibly strong at the mid-tiers, and it's something that's sometimes forgotten about because of how strong CAS is at high tiers. But yeah, overpressure is killing a lot of SPAs at the lower tiers, and it will destroy the Ostwind 2 as well. But generally, it's nice to see these types of packs. I would have preferred if they'd maybe added a Panther instead of another Tiger, or maybe adding in an aviation element to try and get that sorted from the multi-role point of view. But then again, you know, this is also something for Ground Arcade, so this is a full lineup that you can use in Ground Arcade, and in Ground Realistic will be super useful too, and in Ground Sim will be great for the World War II BRs as well. It's also an interesting idea that we haven't seen before in War Thunder, apart from the starter packs, and I think that's really cool. I hope they do more of these things with other nations. Obviously, Russia has quite a few interesting camouflages you can add to stuff, and also America with their Shermans, not just with the dozers, but also with some unique camouflage patterns too. And a lot of other nations could easily have packs like this as well. If this becomes a standard thing, where you can kind of buy premium versions of vehicles with just extended decorations on them, I'm all down for it. I think it's really cool. It doesn't screw with the balance of the game. It just means that, you know, you're basically paying for customizations and premium, and that is better than paying for a unique vehicle that could easily break the game, which is a bit of a problem with some of these things. So the way they're implementing this is fantastic. It's actually very similar to how they do it in War Thunder Mobile with the way that their lineups work, and hopefully we can see more of this stuff in the future. The price is going to be a breaking point for a lot of people, but we'll have to see what it is when the update releases. We also had a wonderful devblog for the Eurofighter Typhoon, which is coming in 3 separate variants. You have the EF2000 Block 10, which is for Germany, the Typhoon FGR4, and then also the F2000A for Italy. So you got one for Britain, the FGR4, one for Germany, and one for Italy, all at rank 8, all at 14.0, and also the new meta vehicle. Now, this is a beautiful aircraft. I don't know how else to put it. It is a fantastic looking machine, and really shows that War Thunder is in the modern age now. It's crazy to think that we are just stepping basically from the F-15 straight to the Eurofighter. No prototypes, no projects, nothing like that, just straight up bang bang bing bong, skipping not really a ton of generations, but also just skipping a lot of technology in between. Now, these vehicles have the Captor radar. They also have an IRST on the FGR4 and F2000, which will be very good. They have access to the nerfed Brimstone missiles, and also AIM-9Ms and AIM-9L1s or LIs, and then AMRAAMs too. So the weapon systems that these vehicles have access to is nothing new. The only vehicle that gets kind of new stuff is the French machine, which is about. But basically, these are better flight performance vehicles. So what you're getting is not better weaponry, but you're getting better radars, you're getting better RWRs, you're getting also really good maneuverability and also speed in these things, and that's where this machine excels right now. Now in the future they can easily add more stuff to it in terms of missiles and in terms of ordnance, but I think right now it's probably a bad idea to do that for obvious reasons. The units use the EJ200 engines, so not the ones which are the most powerful on the Eurofighter setup, but they're much better than most that are around, which is kind of crazy. And the story starts in the early 1980s. Several European countries needed a replacement for their frontline fighter aircraft that had begun to slip behind more modern aircraft appearing from the US and USSR. Previous collaborative projects like the Jaguar and Tornado led Germany, Britain, France, and Italy to once again come together, along with Spain, for a new next-generation all-weather jet fighter project. Previous experiences led to the Agile Combat Aircraft, the ACA program, and later the Experimental Aircraft program, resulting in an airworthy technology demonstration platform. This platform could test the theory behind many of the new advanced manufacturing technologies and features required for what would eventually become the Future European Fighter Aircraft, or the FIFA program, in 1983. France would, however, withdraw from the program due to disagreements on requirements and also control over the project. After the turbulence of the early 90s, disagreements over the radar set, and huge financial overrun, the Eurofighter had finally started to emerge. An engine consortium, Eurojet Turbo, was formed to handle the power plant and the ECR-90 radar, which eventually later became the Captor, was selected based on the Blue Vixen. First taking to the skies in 1994, it wouldn't be until the early 2000s that the Eurofighter Typhoon would enter into service with the 4 core nations of the program, after more development and overruns pushed the aircraft back. Initially, the aircraft was heavily focused on the aerial superiority role, with later tranches of the fighter bringing air-to-ground weaponry to its ever-expanding arsenal. After more modernization programs, Typhoons have since seen combat in the 2010s, and also 4 original operating nations have been joined by Austria, Kuwait, Oman, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar. I feel like it's kind of surprising that we've seen Eurofighter Typhoons. The first ones that they've added have all of the different ordnance types. I thought we would get some of the earlier variants which only were more limited to air-to-air weaponry, but it seems like they've gone straight out and added a machine which has access to crazy weaponry all over the place. So this will be obviously very useful in ground forces, and especially after seeing that Q&A from BVD talking about how much these vehicles are unbalanced at the high tier of the game. It is sad to see that we are adding to the problem, but it'll be super fun in air, and the new kind of meta-defining vehicle, along with the other F-15 and also the Rafale. For France, we have the Rafale, the C F3. Now this is a jet fighter that is coming in at rank 8. It's another one of the barnstormers of this update, and also puts France back on the map as a very meta nation. The Rafale has very much a multi-role core to it, so it's going to be useful in air and also in ground. When it comes to the air ordnance, we saw that on the dev server it had the Mika EM active radar homing missiles, but also they're going to get access to the Magic 2s, the R550. The other thing about this Rafale is generally it's going to have obviously access to more ordnance in the future, but I'm guessing the general idea right now is they don't want to go too crazy with it, kind of like with the Eurofighters. The other interesting part is it only has 32 large caliber countermeasures and also a bunch of chaff that it can bring along too. Now, I've done a little bit of reading about these countermeasures. It seems like you can mix and match, so you can either have large caliber countermeasures or you can have standard caliber countermeasures, and then also they're supposed to be more effective than other countermeasures that exist. Now, whether that is implemented or not, or whether at the same time any of that is real, is another interesting part of the conversation, because of course when it comes to claims with these modern aircraft, they're always disputed, which kind of sucks. Now, this vehicle has very, very powerful engines. It has really good ground ordnance and actually has a new type of munition which we haven't seen before. It's a GNSS bomb with a rocket assistance, so basically a missile, which also can be guided by a laser or by an IR. So it's a GNSS bomb that can track a target, basically, and if it loses that target, it still goes to the position where it should be going. So you don't just lose lock and then it just disappears into the ether. It locks onto the position where it was previously. So it still is going to be accurate even after losing lock. So kind of nuts. It's interesting that Gaijins say this thing doesn't have an air brake. Technically the canards at the front act as an air brake, but I'm guessing they're not using that in the game, or maybe that's just kind of going to be modeled in the game so you can pitch them up. I just don't know if the elevator setup is going to be different on the vehicles, but generally this vehicle will be really good, you know, and the only issue with it is the whole Mika versus AIM 120 argument, and whoever comes out on top will obviously win. The Dassault Rafale multi-role fighter was accepted into service with the French Air Force in 2005, and in early 2014, the French Ministry of Defense announced funding for the F3 modernization program. The main goals of this upgrade were to increase the aircraft's combat ability and overall capabilities. The Rafale received a new radar, more advanced communication, and surveillance systems, the ability to use Damocles and also Talios targeting pods, and an expanded range of weapons. Tests of the upgraded aircraft began in April 2014, with the first test flights taking place in December of the same year. In October of 2018, the French Air Force accepted the Rafale F3R into service, and by 2030, all operational aircraft will be modernized to the standard. The first combat use of the Dassault Rafale C F3R occurred in September of 2020, when a pair of aircraft struck ISIS positions. Additionally, the F3R modification has been exported to Greece and Croatia. So once again, it's a vehicle which is incredibly modern, and they've skipped a bunch of variants to get to this one. And that is kind of surprising. It's kind of like skipping the F-16A and just going straight to the C, which of course is not something that Gaijin did. So now what they've done with adding these in, they've basically made all of the other variants that they can add before these ones completely worthless, because nobody's going to be interested in them. So you're only going to get more and more advanced versions of this, which basically will come in the form of weapon systems, just like we had the active radar homing update, where they basically just added the same vehicles again, but with AIM 120s. You're going to get the same thing with these modern systems, just like you have with ground, where you get a new vehicle, and the difference is a new round. So, yeah, hopefully you'll enjoy grinding through these things. They are beautiful aircraft. There is a lot of nice things to enjoy about them. Hopefully you enjoy the update as well. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.